let's have some fun, V, talking about self-care and relationships, or self-care in relationships, or what the what the fuck is this in relationships?
That's a big
Um
old question mark.
enlighten me, please. This is not something I'm great at. So, like,
Ooh.
looking after yourself in a relationship, or trying to, or audience, I have no idea where this segment is going to go, but it'll be fun and interesting. So buckle up.
Well, I guess for me, as I came into my own, I kind of understood that while self care was for me, maybe too, I was kind of doing it to grab the attention of the opposite gender. I am a
Mhm.
cishet female. I'm attracted to men, unfortunately. So
You can always call me V.
we'll chat.
We'll just.
Um, so I understood that a little bit of it was performative.
Hmm.
Of course, again, all for me, but also to get a little bit of traction for
Right.
attraction. Because
Yeah.
men look, people
Yeah.
look, not just men, women too. They
Mhm.
be looking too, and they may or may not say anything. I've had one or two say some things, but and it's been interesting. It caught me off guard, but it was what it was. I'm like, okay, girl.
I try and be a little more subtle these days, though. You do know that.
Understandably so. So it's almost when you're in a relationship, it's almost kind of performative. And well, what does he like? What does he want? Well, baby, and they're gonna tell you, baby, this is what I like, especially with lingerie and things. This is
Right.
what I like. I bought this for you. I want you to wear this. So there's that piece of it, but then you have to carve out a little piece for yourself.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm wearing this today. I don't care whether you like it or not. I know you're my
Yeah.
partner, my husband, what have you, but
Mhm.
I like this. The colors may be weird and things may be mismatched or whatever, but I like this, and this is how I look today.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that is a narcissist partner where they're going to mandate that
Oh.
you be very performative for them. And
Okay.
that's abusive, and that needs not to take place. That's a whole other
Yeah.
thing. As far as relationships go. And in dating, you're even performative because you're going out on a date. You want to look your best. You think you're looking your best, and then you get on the date, and they're like, and it's like, then they'll tell you what they like, and then you
Mhm.
feel like obligated to do that. Or you come to the point where we're probably not going to date because this is how I dress. I don't mind acquiescing sometimes. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
well, he likes turquoise, and I think I look terrible in turquoise. But hey, babe, I'm gonna do it for you, okay? Because you like it. Oh, I don't really like that type of lingerie, but because you like it and it turns you out, okay, it's not gonna be on
Mhm.
long anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, so those are the compromises in
Right.
relationships, marriages, but you also really have to be true to yourself.
Oh, yes.
And then you do have the partners who will pay for you to get your hair and nails done and buy
Mhm.
outfits and things. And that's always appreciated
Yeah.
because it seems like they're agreeing with your autonomy. As
Right.
long as it makes you
Yes.
feel good, makes
Yes.
you look good, and they think you look good to them, here, baby, go do your nails and get your hair done. Okay, then you come back and you're like, well, how do you like it? Because you want again to please them a little bit, but really for you. Oh,
Yeah.
baby, I like it. Cool.
Mhm.
Now whether they really mean it or not, or they just want to, fluff you
Mhm.
away. That's another conversation.
What, you mean
So,
guys do that?
oh yeah, they do. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, girl. Okay, yeah. Oh, dating and relationships.
Oh, yes.
It's such a twisted road to travail.
It
I
Yeah.
desire a partner, but it's so difficult. And it's especially difficult depending upon the package you're in.
Yes. Mhm.
Because then people want to throw in your face preference.
Right.
But preference more than likely turns out to be prejudice. And we need a whole other conversation on that.
Yep.
And then again, they're dictating your self-care, how you look
Yeah.
and how you present. Well, I don't like you if you weigh so much, or if you wear this or that.
Hmm.
I only like girls who dot dot dot, or women this, that, and the other. It's a whole other thing when you're getting into that realm.
Yeah.
Because I have had men love my voice, and just off the strength of my voice, they're like, "Oh, you've got to be hot." Well, what is hot to you? Hot to
Right.
you might be somebody in a magazine or an Instagram model, and I'm neither of those things. I
Hmm.
was talking to a guy, he was like, "Oh, I didn't listen to you or read your profile. I just went off the strength of your voice." And he was like, "Well, give me a picture.
Okay.
Send me a picture. Send me a picture. Send me a picture. I don't want to really talk more to you unless you send me a picture." Of course, that didn't go well.
Mm.
And that's just really pathological and disordered thinking. You just going off the strength of my voice that, oh, you think I'm a hot, 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 conventionally attractive chick. Then when you
Right.
get my picture, you're like, oh,
Mm.
again, disordered thinking. A lot
Yeah.
of guys really do think that if she's got a sexy voice. Well, I'm going to say this: I am a sexy and sensual person.
Hmm.
Now, the outer may not match what you think I should look like as a sexy or sensual person
Yeah.
in this body as a woman, but I am. So that's where the voice comes from. It
Hmm.
comes from a genuine place. If I weren't, then it wouldn't be, and guys wouldn't be all on me like, "Oh, I gotta see you. I gotta see you. Does the voice match the face? Get out of here with that."
Right.
So a lot of men, a lot of people think that they can regulate your self care so they can feel some type of way, and a lot of them do.
Yeah.
But me, I'm going to do me, whether you like it or not. Again, I might acquiesce here or there because you like it and it turns you on and it pleases you, but I'm still going to ultimately do me. And I'm not going to be somebody who I can't be. I can't drop all this weight overnight so you can feel okay about me as a person.
Right.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I can't do that. And even if when I get to that point, I'm not going to want to deal with you because you only see me as attractive if I do that.
Hmm. You know,
So yeah, there's a lot that comes with it.
there is. I mean, I'll even add on top of that ambition. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the last recent encounter, it was like at first it's like, yeah, I'm supportive that you're ambitious, but really it's like drop your ambition and you'll be fine. Like, no. You know, I mean, and I like what you brought up about autonomy. Someone who appreciates that, and to me, that's going to be like the top and sexiest thing another person can do is
Mm-hmm.
appreciate my autonomy and respect it, and I will do the same for them. You know, so I identify as queer. I'm bisexual, but I use the term queer. But I will speak uh from the I'll speak to a straight passing relationship because that is the only dating relationship I've had was with a guy. And this is where I lived with him for 5 years. We were together for about equal amount of time. It was a kind of a whirlwind relationship, and we did really get along, but had very different home life styles, and just, he was not ambitious and I was, and eventually we parted ways. But that kind of like kicked my self care up a bit because living with somebody, I took the second bedroom and that became my walk-in closet because I needed a place where I could escape to, especially if we had friends over or we were having a fight or I just wasn't feeling it. I'm like, I need to go into my walk-in closet that's actually the spare bedroom because I need my space. And because of that, I realized I do better when I live alone. So I've lived alone ever since. Um,
Yeah.
and I just it taught me. So that relationship, that was again the only quote unquote traditional relationship I've had, the only public one I've had that very few people knew about because I wasn't that public with it. But it made me realize how easy it was for me to lose myself. Mind you, I didn't have a strong sense of self at that time. I had come off like the worst career crash of my life. I was like late 20s, life begins at 30. So I was in that kind of like I feel something brewing, but I don't know what, and I want a boyfriend phase. So that's where I was at that particular time. And I immersed myself in this person's life, which meant my self-care did change. I didn't have a strong sense of style. I didn't really know what I was doing in the world, and that was very hard coming off of knowing exactly where I wanted to be, because I had my dream career for 10 years prior to that, and then that died out and I realized I didn't want to do it anymore. So I was like all over the place. And I think that's when, for me, that's when I get involved with guys like that, where they're like, because he had his identity. He was a decade older than I was, and he had friends and was established. I mean, for as much as he was going to be established, and you just kind of go along with it. And like, what was self-care wasn't a whole lot, but then I kind of found my footing again and realized I don't actually want to be here. Stuck it out anyway, but um and then I was like, I need to make myself a priority again, because I can't go along with your life. I can't be along with your family. I can't be along with your friends. Like, once a year, sure, but I need to be LeNora again, and I got to figure out who LeNora is. And this is where I really pushed for self-care, to the point where I was like going to get hotel rooms on the weekend, because I'm like, I need my own space. And then eventually I moved out, and then I've been living alone ever since. But I'm going to say, like, for me, the relationship experience pushed me to really focus on the level of self-care I do now. And what happens is, like, I've had companions since, because I practice companionship more than I do dating. And then, I had a fling which resulted in a broken ankle, not because it was physical, like the fight or anything. It's just stuff. Going along with someone else's suggestion to do a hike. Anyway, whatever. But all of that made me realize, like, when I am considering somebody, whether it's a companionship or something casual, whatever, I do put my self-care first, and I explain what level it is. I mean, it's pretty obvious now. Like, I'm public about what I do, so anyone that knows me for any, like, a week will kind of get like, that I do make myself a priority. But because of that, I'm able to channel and do things for other people. I'm at the top of my game when I can practice self-care. I have yet to figure out how to have a relationship with somebody else, like an intimate relationship that's beyond sex. Like, I have good friendships. I'm in this weird phase of, like, how do I build something with somebody else that doesn't, and it doesn't have to be traditional, because I'm not a traditional girl, but how do I do that without giving up my self-care, my autonomy, and not to like, I want to be mindful of the other person, but there's got to be that understanding and respect. Like, look, this is how I operate, and it's important to me, because I've brushed it aside. It's like, you said, it's easy to just kind of go, well, they like this and they like that, and then you won't wake up one morning and you're like, no.
Who am I?
Exactly. Who am I? And that is also a terrible feeling I don't recommend. So, and we all go through it. And it's not that it won't happen again, but now I do want to be mindful of when I'm even pursuing or even considering somebody honestly, at this point, even in a casual state. Yeah. Because casual still actually can go for a long time, which I'm totally cool with, but there has to be an understanding, like, especially at this point, like, I'm going into 40. You know better than I, the power you feel when you hit this age.
Oh, yes.
Right? And it's like, don't try and talk me into something less than what I deserve or what I'm worth or who I am. Like, I am not tolerating that anymore. If you are strong enough to stand beside me with that, great. If not, see ya.
Peace out.
Exactly. You're nice. You gave 2 fingers. Some days it's like
the one. Yeah, the one. Oh, definitely. And again, therein lies, well, do you want me to be me, or do you want me to be who you want me to be?
Yeah.
And that's what I experienced being in a narcissistic relationship. Mm-hmm. Extremely performative. Yeah. It was overbearingly so. And I was uncomfortable most of the time. He was performative too, because that was his baseline. So he wanted me to be what he wanted me to be. I had to have my hair done. I had to have my nails done. I had to look just so. But he wouldn't pay for anything.
Oh.
Not that I expected him to, but he's like, you got to take care of that. Well, are you going to? No. Yeah. So you don't want to get caught in that either.
No. And I guess this is where like a self-care journey is it's so individualized, like everything else. But when you do realize like what is true, what is not, like, in my day-to-day life, I don't wear a wig. I have my natural hair, and I wear makeup. I'm always in a dress. I like to feel pretty in my day-to-day life. I hyper things up a little bit for camera, and I love it. It's great. But if you're expecting me to show up somewhere in a wig, unless it's for Childfree Media or a specific child-free event, then I will. But my day-to-day life, I don't look like I look like this, but not not this much.
Not
And
so high
I like
film.
pardon?
Not as high film when you're
Exactly,
just chilling.
exactly. Again, I always like feeling pretty, and I like how I look without the wig. So and I make that clear because I've had that question before too. It's like, well, do you wear wigs all the time? No, I don't. Because it's for different things, but just being yourself and being able to show up as yourself before anything happens in the relationship space. I mean, this is where I'm at, and I'm someone that, like, I haven't had a companion for a year. I've actually been celibate for a year. At the time of this recording, by the time this airs, that could change. Who knows? You never
Probably
know.
quicker for you than me, but anyway.
You never know. You never know. I was gonna say something really raunchy, but I'm so not going to. I was like, when are we meeting for coffee? Sorry, B's like, why are you hitting on me?
Hey, it's nice to. Hey, I'll accept it at this point because
I mean,
as I told somebody, the choice cuts that I've been getting on the menu makes me want to fast again. Seriously.
I am the worst for so many things when it comes to this department. Like, I was saying the other day, I'm like, I've got no game whatsoever. Like, the minute I like somebody, I shut down. I don't know how to deal. Like, if I'm pursued, I can say yes or no. But if someone catches my attention, I have no idea what to do with it. I have no idea how to act. I'm like, I'm getting better. Recently, I kind of figure out what to do with one person, but like, I just normally am absolutely a mess. So, still learning. Which is that sad at the age of 40? But whatever.
No,
Again, I bring it up to my upbringing. Like, look, I was supposed to be married and have kids at 18. So, I didn't pursue the opposite gender until 26.
Mm-hmm.
Females fine with, but that's, again, like I said earlier, I'm still figuring out my sexuality. I mean, I know,
it's okay.
but
yeah,
it's constantly evolving. But back to self-care. We're like, how do we figure out our relationships in an episode? You can't. I think putting yourself first. And I kind of look back to my parents, because my parents had a very strong friendship, a strong partnership, a strong marriage. And I always held that is one thing that I admire my parents for, was their dedication and devotion, and genuine for each other. Genuine connection for with each other, and feelings for each other. And I know that there was a lot of compromise on both their parts. See, by nature, I do not want to compromise. I will compromise in a collaboration, in a business, absolutely. But personally, maybe because I have not compromised with the right person.
There is that. If you get with the right person, you're willing to do whatever they want. Well, not whatever, but
you're more... wait, not quite that far.
Not quite whatever.
But because you do want the other person to be happy. You want them to feel good, and like, it's a mutually beneficial thing,
Yes.
And I feel like where I'm at right now, and this is something I'm still working through internally, but I do put myself first. I put my care first, because it helps me show up for the Childfree community. It helps me show up for my friends, my family. I'm a better person when I know I'm feeling okay. And there are gonna be days where I'm not feeling okay, and I still have, I still choose to show up. But when it comes to, being in a partnership or companionship or whatever, like I'll say an intimate relationship, whatever, because that means whatever it means to you. I know what it means to me. And I do want the other person to feel good, but I don't want to diminish. First of all, I'm at the point where I'm not going to diminish myself to make someone else feel better.
Exactly.
If
Never
I
make
get
yourself
and this is what
small.
happened the last time, the minute I have an inkling that I have to make myself smaller, and I don't mean
Hmm.
size wise, I just mean like I've got a big personality, but I know where I know where I want to go in life. I know where I feel I know where I can go in life. I will not for a second diminish that for anybody.
Exactly. Nor should you have to.
No,
And
exactly.
if somebody starts making you feel that way, or they're asking you to,
Mm-hmm.
it's time to cut it off. Like, nope.
Yep.
I mean, you can bring it up to them and say, hey, I'm feeling like you want me to make myself small. Can we
Yep.
talk about this?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that was kind of something in my former marriage, but
Mm-hmm.
that's another
But
topic.
I mean, like I like again, that's like accepting of yourself, realizing what you have to offer. To me, that's like appreciating and acknowledging to yourself is also self-care, because again, you are honoring yourself, and that's the whole point of self-care. So if we have to ignore that to have a relationship, I tried that once. No, maybe I think I've tried it more than once, if I'm really honest with myself. I don't like how I feel, and it doesn't help anybody because they feel miserable because I'm miserable. And when I'm miserable, like I'm fine most of the time, but when I'm miserable, you do not want to be around me. So, like,
Same.
it's just it, and then I kind of lose respect for the other person. And who wants to be in that relationship? Like
Exactly.
I want to, if I'm gonna be a partner of sorts to somebody, I want them to feel as good as I feel with them, because it's got to be equal that way, right? And so
Agreed.
part of that is being able to be myself and, heck, to be honest, live alone. I can be a good friend and lover when I have my own personal space.
You
And
know, I understand.
right? And I think we've been like, when it comes to relationships, like I know what society tells us, what, in my case, what religion told me, which is like, deny yourself.
Ugh.
It's all about denying yourself. And then of course what Hollywood tells us, which that'll be a whole other segment. And I love movies. I do. But and especially again, we're female, so it's just it's exhausting sometimes. V, have you ever felt that way?
Just look at my face.
Guys, if you're listening to this on podcast, please go to YouTube and look at V's face right now.
I
Um,
get tired all the time, and that's why I've taken a hiatus from dating. 2.5 years. I really, really just got back into it, and I'm already tired. And I'm like,
oh
I
man.
barely started talking to guys again,
Yeah.
and now it seems even can it be even worse over the last 2.5 years? And I know that a lot of, unfortunately, men are desperate. A lot have become more desperate because a lot
Mm,
more women are, again, giving into their and looking into their autonomy, and they're like, I don't
yeah.
care what you like, this is me, and if you
Yeah.
reject me, it's okay. So
Hmm.
they're not getting the women that they think they deserve.
Right.
And so a lot of guys are just desperate for something, and they're being weird, and they don't know how to talk to women. Man, when did this happen? It's like you can't even just have a decent
I
conversation
Yeah.
without bringing sex into it, or talking about something weird, or honing in on my body to make sure it's acceptable. These guys are weird.
You
A
know,
lot.
I'm gonna say it's really rare, and this has been a recent experience where you can interact with someone of the opposite gender who is like equally single as you, but they do not objectify you, and therefore you don't objectify them. You may be privately thinking all sorts of things, but like it's a very rare experience that I have where I don't feel. I mean, look, there are times where you want to be objectified. Come on, like
Sure,
yeah,
there's a
but
time and place for it.
there exactly. But when that's the only thing I have learned, if again from experience, it's like, all right, well, if this is what we're leading with, then it's not going to go very far. And sometimes that's totally fine. That's all I'm looking for. Totally fine. But it is nice when you do meet somebody that actually sees you for who you are, not what you look like, sees what you are doing, and can respect that. in their way, because at the end of the day, that's what I want to do to somebody else. I mean, I'm a visual person too,
Sure.
um and I don't ignore attraction to somebody else, but at the end of the day, like, you just get tired of that whole game, especially like when you've been dealing with it your whole life. And it's like,
Yeah.
because we can validate ourselves, but I mean, and this is really an interesting time, and I don't have much of a dating history. I've ignored, so like, for most of my life, to be honest, and that's been a coping mechanism. I mean, I'll be real, like, it's been self-preservation. I just don't know what to do with it. A lot of it has to do with upbringing. A lot of it has to do with my sexuality and not sure what to do with that. And I've only been open, like, publicly open about being queer in the last 2 years. So, it hasn't necessarily changed anything, but well, no, it has. It's strengthened my ability to express myself, and realizing, like, I it doesn't mean I need one thing or the other. It's just, it's complex, and sometimes I don't know how to handle that in certain situations. So it's like, it's kind of a lot. Anyway, it's just, yeah, humans are complicated.
Yeah. And it would be nice if I could pair up with one where there's mutual attraction, intelligence, and
Mhm.
shared morals, values, and goals that
Yeah.
align. But being child free, agnostic, atheist, and a fat, dark skinned black woman in this world,
Yeah.
in this country, it can be difficult. And then there are those, well, if you believe in self care, just lose weight. I'm not going to even speak to that because that is really what a
No.
lot of people believe. They think, oh, well, that's the only thing that you need to resolve. Then your dating life won't be difficult. Then you can find somebody. It's not even all about that. Because just as much as the other person wants to be accepted, so do I.
And okay, so that mentality that you just described, I mean, there's a lot of mentalities out there that need to be changed. It's going to be a
Agreed.
tall order. When realistically, like, how is it by having more of these conversations and saying, look, this is actually what we experience, or I experience, like, I don't know if that would change it, but like, I try and find a solution. Not in the sense of like finding you somebody, but just like, because I've had experiences different, but like, when it comes to how, like, my appearance is, it's something I have battled too, for different reasons, but still there, and it still makes me uncomfortable. And I mean, I largely accept myself, but I don't fit like a certain image either, and it's like, it is a challenge, and I don't talk about it much. I don't feel the need to necessarily, but it is there,
Yeah.
and so sometimes and to be honest, it's mostly me saying I'm not good enough
Mm-hmm.
for how I look. I'm short, I'm not skinny, I'm not like, I'm fine with my appearance for the most part. But because, like, I've always looked differently, I've never fit in with people my age. Like, I developed early, I'm biracial, and that comes with its own set of things. And you know how kids respond to you when you've got the body of an adult in grade 6 and you're not white, and you grow up in white communities, like, all those things have snowballed into, while I'm mostly confident now, there's still those wounds. And I wish I were tall, white, and really thin, but I'm very not. But because I have that image too of, like, that's what somebody I like, that's what I automatically assume that's what they want. So I'm projecting some sort of feeling onto that person when they've never given me an indication that that's what they're interested in. That's just
Right.
my projection. So I still do deal with that. I do. And so, it's God, it's complicated.
It
What else
is.
do you say
And
about it?
there is that fine line between, am I projecting, or is this how they're really treating me?
Right.
And
Right.
sometimes, maybe in some cases, there has been projection. But then I've known, if I've sent a picture or if I describe myself that, yeah, they don't like my
Right.
outer package.
Yeah.
They're just interested in, well, what do you look like? Are you
Yeah.
acceptable?
Yeah.
So yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's really not projection. It really is they
Yeah.
reject me based upon how I look, or based
Mhm.
upon how they think I should look. And if that
Right.
doesn't match, they couch it in preference, but
Yeah.
usually it's not. So yeah.
And I think, like, again, for females, like, we're not allowed to, or we're not supposed to talk about the reality of what we go through when it comes to
Hmm.
relationships or dating, or let's
Mm-hmm.
forget that. Let's just say attraction.
Oh man.
Let's just say attraction. Forget the relationship element, because most of the time it's like, just it's not even getting to that part. We got to talk about the attraction thing, because and that's, yeah, society's really fucked us up on that one.
It is with that one because why is it okay for you to reject me because you're not attracted to me, but I can't reject you if I'm not attracted to you? And
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
But
I
have no qualms about telling me you're fat and ugly or ew or they ghost me after they see my picture.
Yeah.
But if they send a picture and I don't like the way they look, I guess you don't like me. Well, what's the problem? I'm a nice guy. Oh, woo, she lay. I just,
So,
yeah.
okay. Um okay, I'm like, what's my self-care question with all of this? As a way to
Don't
wrap
get
this.
into a relationship. No. Stay
Well,
single.
look,
That's
look.
not it. I
What?
know. I'm just,
Well, no, but you're. I mean, you're not wrong, because there are times where we have to step away from this whole disaster of whatever this is and say, look, I'm just going to be on my own. This is where I realize having companions. Like, if I spark with somebody and we're like, I can't commit to you and a family. Like, I can't do that whole girlfriend thing, but we can hang out and care about each other and support each other in our way, and it's genuine. That has been a form of self-care for me, going through relationships. Like, I had the same companion for 6 years. We were not exclusive. We were able to, see other people and whatever. And we would check in and talk about it. Everyone's like on the up and up, because that's just how it works, at least with me. And that really was a form of self-care, because it became, for me, I could maintain myself, my presence, and I enjoyed interacting with that other person. We just showed up as we are, and that's where I'm at now. I'm like, oh, okay, I can show up as I am. They can show up as they are. However we go through this thing, whatever this is, that I like. And that to me is self-care, how I'm practicing self-care in the relationship, because I'm not stopping what I'm doing for anybody,
that's so
you know?
important. Can I just show up as myself and you not freak out about it?
Yeah,
I wish
exactly.
that I could really find another person like that. Well, I've discussed with you that I found someone like that,
Mhm.
but they're in a situation where it would be the ambition and things are off, and I I think I would feel more like a caretaker, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I haven't found anybody to just allow me to show up as I am in my current state
Right.
instead of trying to fix me or change me or say nah.
Yeah.
And I get that that's hard to do when you're not on the conventional scale of attractiveness. I get that. But and I'm not calling myself ugly by any means. Please don't misunderstand me.
Mhm.
But there are a lot who see this and they're like, "No, but I'm beautiful regardless of what you think." Um and so I just want to show up and be me, just like they're allowed to show up and be them,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, I think I mean, it's nothing really I can add to that, because that's exactly where we all need to be. It's like, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. And we can't control anything. Which is someone
Yeah,
that wants to. I mean, we can control that we show up as we are.
we
What
can
I
do the
meant is, like,
self
it's hard to, we
we
can't.
can yeah, we can do the self-care and everything and put on the clothes and everything like that, but that doesn't still guarantee that even showing up as we are will still be accepted. But
No,
I'm going to express myself how I want to.
I guess we have to do another conversation about that. sh- showing up as ourselves and not being accepted, because that's a reality too.
Yeah, it
You know,
is.
and I have, I guess actually we'll kind of end on this note, but um I have had to tell myself, and I still have to tell myself, like, that can be that may very well be a reality, because and it's more of like a personality thing for me, because I realize, like, I could play a certain role for a time.
Hmm.
You know, I could do that. I have done it. And I see a lot of people I know do that, and they get that result that we all think we want. But I am not going to do that.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't like, I'm not lonely. I don't feel lonely. Um and as you know, we talk about as child-free people aging and whatnot, I'm like, I'm okay if that's how it, if I never find somebody that matches me in that regard. I'm not gonna diminish myself at all. I just can't do that anymore. And
Agreed.
you know, it's not like the most comfortable feeling, because you do want someone who appreciates you. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I am such an independent person. It almost pains me to admit that it is nice when you to have somebody that, you know, adores you for you, and you can adore them for them.
Yeah.
Is it a reality? Like, does it happen? Will it happen? Who knows? I mean, temporarily, sure, temporarily.
Well,
Long
you
term,
can.
I've got no clue.
Yeah.
And it's again, it's not super comfortable to say that, but I am also like, that might be the case. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
And at the age I'm at, I'm kind of like, what if it never happens? I'm still feeling a little ick about it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, it may be a reality, but I feel like if I speak it, then yeah, it will be. So I don't really think about it or say it much. I do desire a partner, but it needs to be right.